Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Indie Kid coming at you. Got a basketball update. A lot of stuff going on here in the last 2 days. Coming at you on behalf of Talkin VAWLS. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. And be on the lookout this week as we'll be going live. Looks like it'll be Sunday afternoon. We'll be going live, but Boogie's been dropping videos throughout the week. JP's had some recruiting stuff. I'll keep you updated on basketball. Try to bring you some stuff for baseball as well. As baseball team had another big win last night, but make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. But let's get into it. A lot of news the last couple days in Tennessee basketball. Started out earlier this week. Another assistant coach, Des Oliver, goes to ETSU. With everything going on over at ETSU, fantastic hire for ETSU. Absolutely great hire. I think he can do a lot of good things at ETSU, but it is a loss for Tennessee. He's done a great job recruiting. He's been with Barnes for a couple years, and one thing I like with Barnes and his assistants, these guys don't leave for lateral positions. They leave for head coaching positions. That's a sign you've got good assistants right there, and Barnes always speaks very highly of them. So congratulations to Des Oliver on getting the ETSU job. It is a job with a lot of potential. He's kind of going into a unique situation right now, to say the least, but I think he is what ETSU needs right there. I feel strongly in saying he is an upgrade from Jason Shea, and Steve Forbes did an awesome job there. I think part of Shea, obviously there's the whole controversy with the kneeling, but from what I gathered digging a little bit more into this, I just don't think he was a very popular coach over there. Maybe I'm wrong on that, and some of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Kind of much the same as with Jeremy Pruitt with football. If Jeremy Pruitt would have been popular, if Jeremy Pruitt would have been winning, I would venture to say that the university would have gone to bat for him. Just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but great hire for ETSU. And I know this is not talking ETSU, but just want to mention that. But congrats to Des Oliver. Rick Barnes brings in Rod Clark. I'd mentioned him a couple times last week. Did the basketball video talking about Justin Powell. Mentioned how Rod Clark at the time looked like he was going to be named the assistant coach. And then in the Rocky Top review Sunday, mentioned it was still looking that way. Well, it has been official now. Rod Clark has taken one of the assistant coach openings. A lot of connections right there. And I'm going to get into where those connections may lead here in a minute. But Sunrise Christian Academy, that's where Kennedy Chandler's coming from. And then there's more. There's more connections. That's a pretty strong academy right there as well. So I think it's a good hire. A young up-and-coming coach. They seem pretty excited to get him. He's currently at Austin Peay. Now he's coming to Knoxville. Good coach, has a lot of recruiting ties out there. And, there's players spread around college basketball. And there's one in particular I'll touch on here in a minute. And then, the roster movement continues. As Keon Johnson's announced today, he's for sure gone to the NBA. Tennessee just picked up a commitment from Quentin, and I haven't heard the correct pronunciation of this. I'm going to say it's like Debunje maybe. But French prospect, moved to the States, played in Florida this year. And, a lot of interesting stuff on him right here. Grant Ramey had a good article out today. What is Tennessee basketball getting with this guy? He's a 6'6", 185-pound guy. Yes, he's another guard. I don't know if he's raw, but, Mike Schwartz, the assistant coach, used some of those European contacts that he had, which, led to Yves Pons coming in a couple years ago. Now they've kind of hit that again as Debonje, and again, I apologize if I'm saying the name wrong. He's at Monteverde Academy in Florida right here. So 6'6" guy. His coach really talked positive about him, said, and this fits Rick Barnes. He can guard the point. He can guard, your guards, your wings, whatever. Very good guy off the ball right there. His coach says he's an okay three-point shooter, but he's not there. But he shot 42% from three-point range. That's not too bad. And, if he's just okay and shooting 42%, I'm excited to see what he does when he becomes a good three-point shooter. down there. And, obviously this team needs three-point shooting. Yes, I know they need big men. I'll address that here in a minute. But, just kind of reading here as well. And I got a makeshift setup today. I'm actually, out of town right now, but definitely wanted to get this in. It said then he's a good three-point shooter. Not great, but he's getting better in that area. He had a couple games where he hit 4 or 5 threes. That's a pretty good shooter if you can hit 4 or 5 threes in a game. And his coach in high school says he's just scratching the surface when it comes to his talent. So seems like he's a real good athlete. Says he can finish around the rim. He can guard pretty much any position, a big wing, a guard. And, from what I gathered here, said he averaged close to 12 points per game for his team. He doesn't have a ranking according to 24/7 Sports, but, I know when Eve Pons, a couple, 4 years ago, when he came in, I don't think he had a ranking when he committed as well, and then he ended up being I'm going to say at least a top 150. He was a 4-star recruit, good player for Tennessee. Hopefully we can get the same here, maybe a little more advanced offensively. Obviously, Pons was a freak athlete, another prospect from France. Again, so there's always that adjustment period when you come from Europe or, like with Vescovi come from Uruguay. When you come to the States, there's going to be that little bit of adjustment right there. But interesting pickup for Tennessee today. One that I think has some potential. So now you're looking at Tennessee as here's what we know so far. We know out is Jaden Springer, Keon Johnson, both going to the NBA. Devontae Gaines, Drew Pember transferring, and I think it's pretty much assumed that Eve Pons is out at this point. So now what you're adding, Kennedy Chandler, Jemai Mashak from California, Justin Powell, the transfer from Auburn, and now you've got the Quentin Debunje. I apologize on I don't know the correct pronunciation right now, but there's more on the way. And one prospect I seen is let me pull it up here. Saw it just a minute ago. One of the prospects they're after from Charlotte, just decommitted from Auburn. Here, McAdoo, I believe is the name right here, but not Auburn, Marquette. He's ranked the number 60 prospect in the country, 6'11" center out of Charlotte. So Tennessee's making some contact there. Let's see what else Tennessee's got here. The prospect I mentioned where Rod Clark may come in. It's not a prospect here. Liam Robbins, 7-footer, transferring from Minnesota, played at Sunrise Academy. He did tweet, congratulations to Rod Clark when he moved up to Tennessee. I think that's a name there's been, kind of 2 and 2 put together here. That is a name that, could and would fill a big need. And, he had some good games last year. He's been a pretty good player for Minnesota. Liam Robbins, 7-footer. And he seems like a guy who really showed up in the big games against Ohio State, against Michigan. So that's what we need is guys who are going to show up, in the big games right there. So, obviously Tennessee is still pursuing Brandon Huntley Hatfield. He's the number 6 in the 2022 class, but there is a possibility he may reclassify to 2021, which would be huge right there. He's 6'9", another big need right there, and obviously a top 10 player. That's great as well. And then Jonas Adu. I said McAdoo. I was close on it. I apologize. Jonas Adu, decommitted from Marquette. 6'11", 215 Charlotte, North Carolina, is the number 60 overall player and the number 7 center. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I think there's still going to be more roster attrition. And there's some speculation going on now about Corey Walker. Does he return? And that name's been speculated the whole time after he couldn't get on the court this year for whatever reason. But, could anybody else, does Walker go? Does anyone else go as well? The roster movement is going to be thick. It's going to be crazy. And I'm curious, and I've said it from the day Tennessee got put out of the tournament. This is the most important, and I stick with it, off-season for Rick Barnes' tenure at Tennessee. There's no doubt about it. this is the most important offseason for where this program goes, because they obviously didn't get where they should have this year. But, if you look back on it, there were some glaring holes there. Obviously, another big thing, does John Fulkerson return? I do think it's possible. I think it's possible right there. Does Anasicki return? Again, I don't know. After his role diminished at the end of the year, and he wasn't brought in to be a star, but he was brought in to provide that depth. And he just couldn't get on the court at the end of the year. I mean, so we'll see. I think there's more attrition to come. Maybe multiple players still leave. There's going to be multiple players come in. You may see some prospects from 2021 class. Hopefully Huntley Hatfield reclassifies to 2021. Tennessee can get him in as well. Would be a huge pickup. I think Jonas Adu would be a good pickup. I really hope this Liam Robbins works out. And again, Rod Clark, there's that connection through Sunrise Academy right there as well. Hopefully they can get him in. He would fill a big need right there. And, again, I hope Fulkerson comes back. And, if you're a Tennessee fan, you don't like John Fulkerson, I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, yes, he didn't have the year that everybody envisioned, including himself. But, man, I hope he comes back and gets redemption. I really do. And I think it's possible, because I don't know what his pro prospects are right now. But this is an interesting Tennessee team that's being put together. You got Kennedy Chandler, Justin Powell, if he's eligible. And, I think the possibilities are there that he will be, but still, there's been that one time, that 1 year set out when you're transferring within the SEC. Does COVID change that? Does the transfer portal change that? I don't know. The SEC is kind of strange with rules sometimes, but it is the SEC. You never know what they're going to do right there. But, I'm going to keep you posted and keep you updated along the way. Didn't see this commitment coming. I know there was some mention maybe of it, but kind of really didn't know where that would go. I'd seen Tennessee was involved here, but Tennessee does still have one more assistant coach opening. I've mentioned Jarvis Hayes before, his brother Jonas Hayes, who is at Xavier, but he's been mentioned with the Western Carolina job as well, which came open when Prosser took the Winthrop job. So, we'll see where it goes. I think, either Jarvis Hayes or Jonas Hayes, either one would be an excellent addition to the staff right there. And so we'll see. But, a lot of cool stuff going on with the basketball. I'm excited. I like what they're doing. They're totally revamping this team. I feel it was a team, and we said it on our post-game shows and stuff as well, and I've addressed it. I was concerned about this team going into next year based on how it was constructed. Now, I'm starting to feel a little confident, because you've got Kennedy Chandler coming in. You have got, obviously, Josiah-Jordan James coming back. You got Vescovi coming back, who I think will be a good player. You got Victor Bailey coming back. You've got, like I said, I keep saying I still think there's a good possibility Fulkerson coming back. These are just the guys off the top of my head on it. And then hopefully Justin Powell is eligible here as well. I'm excited to see what Mashak, what he contributes as well. This Tennessee team could, I saw the way too early top 10, top 25 rankings after the national championship, and ESPN had them just on the outside. And I think that's fair right now. I think that's fair, but with some big transfer portal adds like Justin Powell, and if you add more, I think this team could have some potential. And we'll see what Rick Barnes. How does Rick Barnes evolve? You've coached as long as him. Maybe you don't evolve a whole lot, but it obviously helps if you have an inside presence, you have a point guard, and you have shooting, which it looks like they're building towards this year. And those were glaring weaknesses last year. But appreciate you guys tuning in. It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon right here. Again, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Leave me a comment. Leave me some feedback there as well. But you guys have a good rest of the day. Take care, and I will see you later in the week.